Hey, I'm Ashley Christian, and welcome to this episode of the Site Prep Profit podcast, where we talk about how to grow and scale your excavation, site prep, or septic business, or anything really in the site prep space. If you're in demo, drilling, anything like that, you're in the right place. We're going to talk about marketing lingo, and I'm going to explain some of the basic terminology that if you've ever talked to a marketing company before and you felt like they're speaking another language, I'm going to break it down for you. Top five terms of things that you should know and understand, because I don't want you to get ripped off by an agency. And some agencies actually are out there trying to rip people off, but most of them are generally good people, but they don't know how to specifically help someone in a site prep company because they do a little bit of helping everybody. And so for them, they might be doing a certain kind of advertising for you that's not really right for your business. So I really want to give you the tools that you need to be able to clear out the noise and really understand what you should be doing with marketing, what the lingo means. So next time you talk to someone who wants to help you with your marketing, you know what the hell you're talking about. So today we're going to get into it. The first one I want to talk about is the difference between Google local service ads and the Google pay-per-click ads, or PPC. Google pay-per-click ads used to be called Google AdWords. It's no longer called that anymore. It's now Google pay-per-click ads. I think it's just Google ads, really. And then the Google local service ads used to be called Google guaranteed, but now it's just a Google local service ad. So these are two different kinds of ads that Google allows you to do, and they both can be really amazing in the right circumstances. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the difference and show you visually how you can tell what's what. So the best way to do this is to just open up your browser and do a search for whatever your industry is. A really good one, a good example would be if you're let's just say plumber. So not even your industry, but you're just looking for a plumber. Just search plumber near me and see what comes up. And we're going to go through it and explain it. Another good one you can do is septic services near me. That's a really great one. Search it up and see what comes up. Now, your very top result in the search results when you do that is going to be Google local service ads. And it's going to look like a picture of the company, the name of the company, a few very basic details, and their reviews. So those are always the top slot whenever what you're searching for offers Google local service ads. That's going to be the very top spot. So if you have these dialed in, these are incredible. They can be incredible. They also can do a whole lot of nothing for you and you get almost no leads from them. So it really depends on your industry, and it also really depends on how many reviews you have in comparison to your competitors. Because if you have 80 reviews, which is amazing, but there's another company that has 500 reviews, guess what? Your Google local service ads are probably not going to work very well because they do have those reviews right up top. That's top one is the Google local service ad. Google local service ads, we also call it LSA. LSA is pay per call. So instead of paying per click, you pay per call. Now, Google designed these kind of ad for basically a business owner who's not tech savvy, who doesn't know anything about marketing. They designed it super user friendly. The interface is very, very minimal. And it's really a product designed by Google for business owners to be able to use themselves without a marketing agency. Now, can you do it yourself without a marketing agency? 100%. But people still really struggle with the Google local service ads and getting past the verification, not understanding why they're not getting phone calls. So there's definitely some expertise and nuance there, but that's basically what Google designed these for. And these are great for people in the home services businesses. Or if you're medical, there's a lot of really good medical in there. So I would just encourage you, if you're trying to understand what it is, just go and Google search Google local service ads, and you can put in your industry and you can see a drop down of every single industry that Google local service ads are available for and see if yours is in there. So septic is going to be in there. Demolition is not. So if it's something where you're doing a service, a regular kind of routine service to a homeowner or a small business, then you're probably going to have it available to you. If you don't do anything like that and you're looking for big jobs and you're looking for sub jobs and that kind of thing, then Google local service ads are not right for you. Another great one is if you're in drilling or foundation repair, they do have Google local service ads for foundation repair. Um, the results on foundation repair, from my experience with local service ads, is the cost is extraordinarily high, very, very high, and the conversion rate's pretty low. So they still can be beneficial, but probably not the best bang for your buck. Whereas if you're talking about septic pumping, the Google local service ads kill it as long as you've got a lot of reviews. So I've seen calls for as low as $20 a call, whereas with the foundation repair, I've seen calls for upwards of $250 to $300 per call, which, okay, if you actually get the business, if you're able to secure the business and you're only paying $300, or even if it takes you 10 and you get $3,000 and you're making $10,000 on that foundation repair, you're still getting an ROI. So it can be beneficial, but in my experience, the conversions with those have been more challenging. So just I'll put that out there. So you're going to pay per call. Google has its AI that's going to listen to the calls. The calls are going to be recorded. They're going to listen to the calls, and its AI is going to determine whether or not it's a good phone call. If it's a good phone call, it'll charge you. If Google's AI thinks it's not a good phone call, it's not going to charge you. In my experience, Google's kind of all over the map on how accurate they are. So there'll be a lot of legitimately good phone calls that get booked for service that Google doesn't charge for. And then there'll be calls of people looking for work, which is not a legitimate phone call that Google will charge for. So in the end, it's kind of a wash and it works out. It works pretty well with the pay per call. So you set your weekly budget, and then Google's not going to charge you until basically you get a call and they think it's a good call. You also can go in there. This is one of the things we do as a marketing company, but you can go in there and submit a rating on each one of the calls. And that's really helpful to give Google feedback. Basically say, this was a great call, this was a bad call, and give them feedback that can help improve the accuracy and train their AI just a little bit more. So that's Google local service ads. It's pay per call. The other kind of ad that you will see next in the Google search results, if you're looking for a septic company near me, the next thing you're going to see is the Google pay-per-click ads. A Google pay-per-click ad is going to look just like a website, only it's going to say sponsored right above it. The Google local service ads also say sponsored above it. So that's how you know it's an ad. It says sponsored, but it's pretty low profile and it doesn't like jump out at you in bright green letters or something. So a lot of people might miss it, but some people, they know, they see it's a sponsored ad, they'll click on it anyway. A lot of people have no idea what they're clicking on though. So the next sponsored results, your pay-per-click is going to look like a website, but these are actually ads that are built in the Google ad platform. And then when someone clicks on it, it takes them to your website. So that's how it works. It's like sponsoring your website at the top of the page or near the top of the page, hopefully. And these are pay per click. So if someone's just shown your ad, if they see it, that's called an impression. And so you'll see how many impressions your ad is getting in the back end of your results in your Google ad account. But you're actually not paying for anything until someone actually clicks on the ad. So you're paying per click. And how much you're going to pay per click, that varies like really greatly on quite a few number of things. So I can't really give you a necessary it's going to be this pay per click. This is what you can expect, but the pay per click's pretty high usually. I've seen upwards of $40. I've even seen some industries, not necessarily site prep, but where people were bidding. Plumbing is a good example. They're bidding $70, $80, $90 per click, just per click for a very high value keyword. So I have seen clicks just insanely high. Usually for site prep, they tend to be lower. They can be lower than $20. They can be higher than $20, but $20 is a really, really rough estimate of about where you might see your clicks at. So you're paying each time you get a click. So that can really add up and become really expensive. The great thing though about Google Ads is they're very, very high intent. So you get to set the keywords in the back end, exactly what word you want them to type in, and you can do it exact match, phrase match, or broad match. So exact match means it actually has to be the words that someone typed in. and then it'll show your ad. Phrase match means the words that you put in as the keyword can be part of the phrase of a longer term that someone types in and it brings it to you. And then broad match is whatever Google feels like, really, whatever they feel like is relevant, which it's about 50-50 whether or not it's relevant. So when you have broad match keywords, your clicks are going to be a lot cheaper, but actually converting those people is going to be a lot harder because a lot of times it's sending traffic for people that aren't actually looking for what you're advertising. Your phrase match is in the middle, so that's kind of your middle cost, and then your exact match is going to be the highest cost per click. But usually I typically see the exact match keywords give the lowest cost per acquisition. So even if you're paying the highest cost per click, you're paying overall the lowest amount to actually get someone to call you or submit the form on your website. So that's what it means when it says pay per click. That's how Google Ads work. If if local service ads and Google pay per click ads are both something that you think could work for your business, I can give you a few tips on which one might be better. If you don't have competitive reviews compared to your local competition, by reviews, I mean reviews on your Google business profile. Your Google business profile, also known as your Google Maps, gets linked directly to your Google local service ad account. So when that happens, all your reviews from your Google business profile are going to show up on your ad for your Google local service ad. So if you have not competitive reviews compared to the people in about a 45-mile radius of you, your local service ads are not going to do very well. And those instances, we really like to use Google pay-per-click ads because it does not matter what your reviews are. You can just, as long as your campaign is set up correctly and it's optimized correctly, you can be at the top and people will choose you regardless of your reviews. So works really well for that. Google pay-per-click ads also work really well if you don't have a local service. That's a kind of a typical service that a homeowner would get. If you have highly specialized keywords, if you have something very specialized that you're doing and you have more commercial clients, then Google pay-per-click ads is going to be the place for you to be. So those are the two different kinds of Google ads. Hopefully that helps when people are talking about ads. It explains it for you a little bit better. And then the last two things to talk about when on this search page, when you search septic company near me, is your Google Maps, which is your Google business profile. That's the current name. Used to be called Google My Business, but now it's Google Business Profile and then just commonly Google Maps. So it's the map results. It's got reviews. It's going to show you the top three. That's what Google always does. It gives you the top three. Some marketers call it the map pack. Is that the right word? Yeah, the map pack. I don't ever call it that, but that's what, if you've seen marketing materials that call it the map pack, that's what it is because it's the top three. The top of the pack of all of maybe 20 potential businesses that are in a geographical area. It's going to show the top three on the first page. And if you want to see more, you have to click to next. So the Google Maps is also another really great way, especially if you're targeting people who are in your local geographical area. Your Google Maps is probably going to be your number one source of traffic. So don't neglect that. It's super important. It's actually free to set up. It can be a little difficult. Some people get really frustrated. We do help with that, but you also can do it on your own. I highly recommend doing the Google business profile. It's super important. And then lastly is your organic listing. So this is going to be your website showing up just, we call it organically. It's naturally. And so your website's not going to show up on that first page unless you're doing SEO work on your website. So that's how it works with with SEO. It's specifically working on getting your website to show up in the map. So those are the four things that when people talk about SEO and PPC and LSA and Google Maps, basically you can see it all visually. Just if you search something, you can see these results and you can see how Google gives the searcher they give them different ideas and different ways that they can find what they're looking for. And that's Google's ultimate goal, is to serve at people the thing that they're looking for. And so that's what we try to do both with ads and also through the SEO work that we do. Which one should you use? I would say they're all important. Every single one of them is important. The best way, another So I guess there's a fifth way. AI is the new thing that everyone's talking about, and it's such a buzzword, and it is really important, but I think it also is a lot of hype and a little bit overblown. If you just throw the word AI onto something, which, okay, I've done that before. I've also been guilty of that. People just they listen because they feel like if they don't nail this, they're going to be left behind. So, anyway, AI, it's a little overblown as far as how important it is for your business, but it still has importance. So, something new now that we've probably all noticed when we search is an AI overview. So, these AI overviews, when you search something specifically, if it's not something that has ads to it, usually, you're going to see an AI overview at the very top of it. And so, these AI overviews, you get those through specialized SEO work. We have cracked the code on how to get those, get a lot of them from our clients, and actually tracking leads from ChatGPT and places like that and from these AI overviews. So it is helpful, it is important, but I would say the quantity of leads, it's actually, even if you have a ton of AI overviews, the quantity of leads you're going to get from those AI overviews is pretty small. It's pretty close to being near the bottom. So that's a fifth way that you can potentially show up, but that is done through specialized SEO work on your website. And even if it's not your website showing, if it's an AI overview recommending your website at the top, that's the golden place to be. So which should you use for your agent or for your business and why? And it's overwhelming. So you got to figure out where you're going to put your time and your effort. So we have found two ways that are the lowest hanging fruit of marketing. And so I hope to break this down for you and really help you understand what should you be invested in. So the first one that's the lowest hanging fruit is your Google Maps. That is going to be the least amount of dollars and the least amount of effort that you put into marketing that's going to give you the greatest return. It's free to set up. It's free to get reviews. It costs you $0 to ask someone for a review. Those reviews are literally worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I have the results to prove that from real clients in the field watching and tracking all of their leads and what's coming in. So your Google Maps is your number one place to be, super important. And then the number two place that we see people really gain traction quickly is through the Google pay-per-click ads. So those two are, if you want to see great results with the least invested possible, you still have to invest some in it, but those two right there are going to really help. And it also tackles this whole marketing problem from two fronts. One is the paid front and one is the organic front. And I have done just one or the other for clients, but anytime I do the two together, that's not very often that I just do one. I really try to do the two together for clients because it makes such a difference. They kind of feed off of each other. And while one is slower with SEO, it's slower to start, but the results are bigger in the end. Those ads can really help fill in that quantity that you're looking for quickly and do a really good job. So hopefully I've helped break down some of the terminology that can be really confusing and that you understand why you need to show up in search, because when someone searches for your services, they already have a pain point that they need fixed. And so you want to be there. You want to be the person standing in line when they have an issue and they need it fixed. You want to be the first person in line that they go ask and that they talk to. And you want to answer your phone. Please answer your phones. I have listened to so many of your phone calls. I mean, not your personally, but clients' phone calls as we track everything. And some of y'all really suck at answering your phones. So you need to get on that, because answering your phones, if you don't answer your phone, someone is just going to hang up and call the next person in line. So if you're going to do the work to show up first in line, make sure you also do the work to answer the phone when they call. Super important. Also, with your Google Maps and your Google local service ads, Google actually tracks whether or not you're answering the phone. Interestingly enough, a little scary. True. But if you're not answering the phone repeatedly on a regular basis, that actually will cause your local service ads, Google, to suppress them, because Google wants to give its users a great experience. And if you're someone who chronically doesn't answer your phone, then Google knows that it's not a great experience for their users and it's going to show you less. So answer your phone, super important. Get a Google business profile, get some reviews. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope this was helpful.